Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and and we do a new character every week. It's not like I've done this a bunch of times. And I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad, and Fred was not our original host, just our fallback when our last one quit.
I'm Brandon.
And Steven is AWOL today. He is busy with work obligations, so he will not be joining us today. But wishing him a best of times there in South Carolina. All right, well, let's begin by talking about some unfortunate AMG news that has come down the pike. So, the Lady Mastermind Avalanche. What was the box? Who was in the box again, Brad?
Exodus,
Exodus.
Avalanche, and Lady Mastermind.
So that box that Brad just said has been delayed for the time being, because of the ongoing trade dispute that's going on in the world today, and that is deeply unfortunate. I'm wondering if this is going to be a continuing thing that occurs. I hope it is not, because that would suck.
If
That
if
would really suck.
if tariffs to China stay in place, you're going to see the board gaming and miniatures gaming communities get hit hard. Like it's gonna affect the companies. That's where all this
And
stuff
that
is manufactured.
sucks.
Yeah, that's where all this
Right.
stuff is manufactured. Except
It's
GW.
where a lot of
GW will be fine. They have a factory in the UK and a factory in the United States. I'm pretty sure they have a factory in the United States, and that even if it's just the UK, I don't think there's any tariffs for the UK right now. So
there are not.
GW
There are not.
GW will be
I
fine.
understand.
Everyone
Yep.
else,
All right. I guess we're all going to be playing 40K in 6 months. That'll be less than fun. Okay, well, let's move away from that. That's not
yeah.
what we're here to discuss. Let's talk about upcoming tournaments. So coming up on the 24th of May, there is a tournament at the Mighty Meeple in Concord, North Carolina. This one, Steven will likely be trying to attend. I think. I actually shouldn't be speaking for him. So, if you are in the area of around Concord, North Carolina, head to the Mighty Meeple on the 24th. All right, and then coming up later oh wait, I missed one. There's one on the 17th as well, at South Charleston, at Lost Legion Games and Comics. That's our local game store. This is just our local event. There's nothing special about this. It's just going to be us guys, and it should be a lot of fun. But then, on the 31st of May, there is going to be the first qualifier for the Appalachian Cup. This is the replacement for the erstwhile BECC, which did not actually really go off. But hopefully this year, Bryce is in charge of the Appalachian Cup, and it will go well. So if you are in the area around Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, head on over. We want to have as many people show up as we can. Hoping this is a large event on the 31st of May. All right. Those are the upcoming tournaments that I'm aware of at the moment. Let's talk about... Oh, gosh. Well, we have a big tournament that we are going to discuss today. That is the finale, the final invitational for the BECC. And all of us on the call attended, as did 3 people from Pittsburgh and Borka and the other Brandon. Those were the 8 who made it into the final 8, and it was a great time. It was real fun. I enjoyed our tournament, and we have a lot to discuss, so I think that we should just hop right in. So we knew who we were going to be playing in our first round for a while now. I knew that my first opponent was going to be Jeff. I've played Jeff in the past. He's a very good player. And he is playing an Inhumans list. I do not have a whole lot of experience playing against Inhumans, so I didn't really know what to expect. So I'll just hop right into my first round. We were playing at 17 threat on Spider Infected and Cosmic Invasion. Cosmic Invasion is the D that is very. It almost never triggers. It only triggers if you roll a crit or a wild on one dice if you're contesting it. So it's a rare thing to occur. And I will. Let me just say what Jeff was playing. Jeff was playing Inhumans. He played Black Bolt, Quicksilver, Ms. Marvel, Baron Zemo, and Miles Morales. I was playing Miles, Moon Knight, Spectacular. Was I playing Spectacular? Oh, now I don't even remember. I was playing Miles, Moon Knight, Black Cat. It would have been Amazing Spider-Man. And that puts me at 14, so there's another 3. It was Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider was my other 3. And this game was a disaster for me. This game in the first round, he was able to grab my F, one of the sides on my F with Quicksilver, using the card that lets the I forget what the card is called, but there's a card in Inhumans that lets them place an Inhuman within range 3 of itself. I think it's some sort of city card, but they
Great Refuge.
Great Refuge, that's what it's called. He placed Quicksilver. Quicksilver moved onto my side's F, took it, and then safe moved away. And I could not do anything about him. I couldn't go up there and kill him. I didn't have anyone close enough to go do that. And then on top of that, he dazes Moon Knight, who's holding one of my objectives that I ended up taking, with a lucky kick from Miles. He just blew up his dice, and Miles dazed Moon Knight. And we're off to a terrible start with him scoring, I believe it was 6 victory points to my 2 in the first round. This is just how this game played out this entire round. In the second round, he again boxed me out. He scored 5 points to my 2. I turn it around in the third round where I score 5 to his 2. So I think right now I'm at 9 and he's at, 13? But then the following round, he just takes me off the board. And he ends up scoring 17, I think. No, that's not right. 19 to my 12. He scored 17, but he also triggered Terrigenesis. He was able to trigger the card Terrigenesis. And gosh, this game for the first time in a while, I felt completely outmatched. Like, he was playing better than I was. His dice were hotter than mine were. And he brought all the tech that he needed to defeat me. It was really bad for me. So that was my round 1. Brad, why don't you talk about how your round 1 went?
Okay, so it was me and Borka, and the last several times we've played in tournaments, I've beat him, and just in general, our games are very close. So Borka's actually the last person I want to play in this tournament. Well, that's not true. Kingpin's the last person I want to play in this tournament, followed by Borka.
What asshole is playing Kingpin in this thing?
Well, I was hoping nobody, but it didn't turn out to be nobody. So I've told him like several times this week and maybe a couple weeks that he's going to win this game because he's due. So we roll off, and I don't remember. Oh, it tells me who's priority. He gets priority. He picks my secures and his extracts, I think. But we end up with Montesi and Imkron. He picks 18. No, I pick 18 because I get a pick. And I play my standard Apocalypse list: Apocalypse, Psylocke, Colossus, Wolverine. He plays Red Skull Master of the World, Bullseye, Ultron, and Malekith. And last time I played Apocalypse into Malekith, it went very poorly. And the time before that, it went very poorly. So I was already a little worried about that. But we roll out turn 1, and things go a little weird. Like, he's really up in my grill with Malekith specifically. Well, ends up with Malekith in my grill. I make an attack with Psylocke and realize I shouldn't have done that. And to recover, I have to make another attack with Psylocke. And then I end up getting on the point and flipping it. But that puts her in kind of a weird position. And she doesn't get me a token. And I really need 2 tokens. Because I need to pick up a book with Apocalypse. So I move Wolverine up, who's just in range of the Ultron drones that are on my side. And Ultron's like in the middle of the table because he picked up the first book. And I attack the Ultron drones and managed to do 1 damage. And that's all I needed to get a token. So I had 2 Horseman tokens. And he goes with Malekith and beams Psylocke and Wolverine because they were right next to each other because I couldn't do anything about that. And off to a bad start. But they're fine. They take a little bit of damage. I go with Apocalypse. He gets on the point, which isn't that important, and makes an attack on Malekith and does some damage. Next round, he has priority, and with Malekith, dazes Wolverine and Psylocke.
Oh, jeez.
Apocalypse dazes Malekith in return. Colossus does some damage to Ultron, and manages to survive. But I was up a point first round, and now I'm down a point at the end of round 2. The start of round 3, he Dark Reigns Wolverine. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose Wolverine. But that's not the end of the world. The Grunts take out Wolverine? No, the Grunts almost take out Wolverine. Ultron has to finish him off, I think. And then also one-shot Psylocke with her second attack. Because I had to brace turn 1 with Psylocke and Wolverine, so Psylocke didn't daze, just for her to be dazed next turn. And then so I didn't have brace anymore, so he threw something with Ultron and then hit her and killed her as well. So I have now lost 2 of my characters who barely got to activate. Apocalypse doesn't quite kill Malekith. And he scores a bunch of points. And I'm just, at this point, I have 2 models to his 4. I do end up dazing Ultron this game. I think Colossus does that. Or maybe Apocalypse finishes him off. I don't know. Colossus and Apocalypse did so much work this game that if I had my other 2 models, it might have gone well. But I just could not keep up with just being outnumbered 2-1. So he ends up scoring 17 to my 11. It's one of the worst games I've ever had. And it all comes down to first making the mistake of putting the models close enough to beam. And then after that, just really good dice rolls and target priority from Borka to take models off the table to give him an advantage that I couldn't recover from. So he played it well, and the dice rewarded him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
and Borka's dice have not been rewarding him for good play lately. So he was definitely due.
yeah. He was owed that for a while now. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, Malekith is a real house. Like, he's a real badass.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yep. All right. Well, both Brad and I have had a bad first round. I wonder how Brandon does. Brandon, what was your first round like?
So this tournament, I wasn't supposed to be a part of. I actually finished in 9th, but Steven couldn't make it, so I took his spot as the 8th place, which meant that I got to play the first place finisher, in Les from Pittsburgh, who is a wonderfully great player and always a great person to play against. I was playing Kingpin. I played Kingpin Criminal Syndicate. Les was on Elsa Midnight Suns. This game was. I told Les when we got there, I said I should have just called you because we could have just rolled dice to see if it was even worth my time coming up here. His secures were Deadly Meteors, Mutant Madman, and Imkron. There's no world I can beat him on his secures. The only time I have a chance in this game is if I win the die roll to play my secures, and even then it's an uphill battle. I did win the die roll. We played my secures. We played Wedding Party, which was probably the best one that I had for his team as well. His extract that we got was Mutant Extremist, so we played 19 Threat. Extremist, which is the 6 extract, and Wedding Party, which is the new 2-side split, worth 2 points apiece. He played Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, Shuri, and Kantu, and Hulk 1. So Bruce Banner and Hulk, not the Immortal Hulk. I played Kingpin, Abomination, Black Cat, Shadowland, Daredevil, and Lizard. So I didn't hate the layout of the matchups. I did have more models than him, so I got to wait to put Abomination completely on the other side of Hulk. So he set up Hulk on his right side. I immediately placed Abomination on the complete other side of the board because he can just use Hulk to kill my team with Abomination, and that's not something I really wanted to be a part of. Deployment was odd. A lot of this game to me, deployment really feels like a lot of the game was because where this is so split up, he center plated Shuri, Elsa, and Man-Thing, and I just hard committed to the left and the right. I put I think Black Cat in the center so she could go to either side with the long move. I put Kingpin and Shadowland on the left hand side, the Grunts, Abomination, Lizard on the right hand side with Black Cat with the ability to flex depending on how his center turned, how he decided to place his models in the center. So I ended up winning both round 1. I ended up winning both of the secures as well as 3 or 4 of the extracts. So I got a decent lead early on. Round 2, he was now in fight mode, so he was able to just start punching people. He really focused on the Kingpin Shadowland side. Black Cat also ended up on that side as well, trying to just get some staggers off, which is very important for later in this game. But he dazed Kingpin with Hulk, because that's just going to happen sometimes. Shadowland, he didn't do a lot of work into the Grunts, so the Grunts kind of he killed the Grunts to get the token off of them. And I ended up, Black Cat was able to have a token, toss a token to Lizard, and then go to the other side before I took her to the left-hand side. So the right-hand side at this point is Abomination, Lizard, and the Secure. And like the only thing he really has over there is Man Thing. So I really have 4 points really isolated on one side of the board. I'm able to daze Man Thing. He was able to instant recovery, and then I was able to daze him after that. And then he had taken the rest of his team to the left-hand side. I'm pretty sure the next turn I was able to steal both Secures again. And then I had lost some extracts at this point, so I think it was either three. I think it was 3-3 on extracts. So I got 7 points, and then he had got X amount of points. There was the next turn is where stuff went bad. Kingpin was dazed. He ended up dazing Shadowland, Daredevil, Black Cat. I also believe got dazed. The right hand side is still holding strong here. We were able to get to I must not have got one of the secures last. I think the turn before I didn't get the left hand secure. I don't think anyone scored it. So because of less points, because I ended up with 14. So I think there was 10. I should have been at 10, which took me to 14. And it took him to I think 8, and then from 8 he went to 2 below me. So it was like 12-14 going into the last round. Kingpin is dead at this point. He originally brought the secure outwards and started bringing it back inwards. I activated Black Cat and put a stagger on Hulk. He ended up taking out Black Cat, so Black Cat died. So Kingpin and Black Cat are both dead at this point. So Shadowland and his grunts just both double move to block him from getting Hulk on the secure. Because it's against a piece of terrain, so I can set it up a little awkwardly to where I can just kind of move my team to where Hulk can't get on the secure. Because Hulk's staggered, so all he's realistically able to do is move, jump, throw. And as long as I can have more if I have characters on him, so he can't get on he couldn't throw and then get on the point was the key. So he would have to jump to get into range to throw, and I still had models on the point. And this game finished 18-17. I killed Man Thing. That's the only thing I really did offensively. He had some pretty bad rolls, especially with Man Thing. In Kontu, I attacked more than anybody in this game and took no damage. I think I did 1 damage to him. He never took anything else. It was just a big waste of my time and effort trying to attack that model with the list that I had. So I squeezed this one out. Took the 1 seed upset.
Congratulations, Brandon. Well done. Les is a hell of an opponent, and it sounds like this game was really close.
It was. It was super close.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be
done.
the theme of my day. So.
Okay, not mine. Not mine. I'll tell you that. All right. So I guess that was our first round. So let's move on to round 2. My round 2 opponent was Savage. I like Savage quite a bit. Savage is a great player and a great opponent, and also just a great guy. And this was he likes to float around affiliations, and today he brought the Spider Foes as his affiliation. And I have a lot of experience with Spider Foes, but he was playing a very different makeup than what I was playing when I was active in that scene. So he has 2 secures that are fine for me and 1 secure that is not. That secure being Wedding Party. And he has in his extract, he has Fear Grips, which I don't want to see. Not at all. He has 1 that's 3 across, which I also don't want to see. So in my head, I'm like, all right, there are 2 poison pills in the extract and 1 poison pill in the secures. So I'll just pick his secures, and I have a better chance of getting an optimal game crisis. So of course I pick Wedding Party, which is the one that I really did not want to see. and he picks Spider Infected from my extract. So that's fine. Spider Infected is fine. I would have loved to see Senators, but Spider Infected is okay. But man, Wedding Party is gonna be tough for me to play on. And of course he picks 20 Threat, which I also don't want to see. His list that he brought at 20 Threat was Doc Ock as the leader, 4 Threat Doc Ock, Venom, Agent Venom, Carol Danvers, the 5 Threat Captain Marvel, and Shocker as the 3 Threat. That's surprising to me. I think to myself, Shocker's nothing. I don't have to worry about that. We'll discuss that later. All right. I play Miles, Black Cat, Spectacular Spider-Man, Namor, and Moon Knight. Is that it? That's not enough points. I have another 3, and Ghost Spider. Yeah, I was 6 wide in this game. I really wanted to play Amazing Spider-Man, but the way that my list was laid out, the people that I brought, I couldn't bring Amazing Spider-Man, because if I brought Amazing Spider-Man, that means I can't bring Spectacular, and I don't have another 3 to fit in there, which means I'd have to change the entire rest of the layout of my list. And I didn't want to do that, so I played Namor in that 5 threat place. Trying to do the safe grab is my plan of that middle point. I succeed in doing that. I do the safe grab with Namor. I then use Namor to trigger this tricks and the sinister traps that he placed on one of my Fs, and that's fine. Like he did, I think 2 damage, not anything serious, and pushed Namor away. But Namor will be in play, so I think to myself, this is fine. This is fine. The rest of the first round goes off essentially as you would expect. We each grab our respective nearby extracts and go line up on Wedding Party secures. But I grab an extract with Moon Knight, move up to the secure, and his last activation is with Doc Ock. And Doc Ock moves up, makes an attack into Moon Knight, and does like 4 damage with his builder attack. He then decides, well, I'm just going to pick up Moon Knight and throw him into a piece of terrain to do that last piece of damage. And I really need Moon Knight there. So I use Brace right now in round 1 to keep Moon Knight from taking 1 point of damage. I think to myself, okay, at least I saved the extract that he's holding, and I will score this Wedding Party because Doc Ock did not make it on the Wedding Party. He then decides to use Surprise Webhead here in round 1 to make a second attack into Moon Knight with Doc Ock, and dazes him, of course. So this is the first round from my last game all over again, where Moon Knight just gets dazed in round 1, and I'm on the back foot for the rest of the game. He also has a Venom that's breathing down my throat, and an Agent Venom that's on the other side of the board from where most of my guys are, but still is a huge threat. Both of them get past my entire shtick, which is defensive rerolls. You can't defensively reroll against a Venom because they have a special rule that prevents it. And that means that I'm gonna die this game a lot. Round 2 starts off, and I'm like, all right, I just need to get Miles to throw Agent Venom off this point, and then run away. I'm gonna forsake my right side entirely because it has both Carol Danvers and Agent Venom on it. Miles goes up, he succeeds in throwing Agent Venom off the point, and then he succeeds in running away. Savage proceeds to KO Moon Knight, in the first action using Doc Ock.
just KOs him. I feel stupid because I should have activated Moon Knight. Why didn't I activate Moon Knight? Hold on. He had priority, so he had to activate someone else before that, but it was still a case where I could have activated Moon Knight, but I didn't, and I fully regret that because Doc Ock just killed him without any trouble. And I feel so stupid about this that Moon Knight was really powered up and could have done a lot of damage and did not do anything this entire game. I'm already biting my nails thinking, man, what am I going to do? I'm like, all right, Namor can go into Shocker, who's on the other wedding party, and Namor will kill Shocker 100%, right? Namor goes in, rolls one less dice, and whiffs hard. I attack a second time, do no damage. This happens another round that Namor attacks Shocker twice and does 0 damage. I don't think I did damage to Shocker in this game. I've always thought that Shocker was garbage. Shocker may have been the MVP of this game. Shocker did so much and was just a problem for me the entire game on the one side that I was really trying to fight on. And this game goes worse for me than my first game did. I feel like this is me relearning how Web Warriors work because I just get absolutely annihilated. Anyway, the way that this game plays out, I end up losing this 16-8. He does. I don't even get to double digits with Web Warriors, and this is their entire game plan is to get win on scenario. So, oh gosh, this tournament is going really, really bad for me. Hey Brad, how is your second round?
So I play Les, who, as Brandon said, is playing Midnight Suns, just Elsa, and we roll off, and he gets priority, and we play his secures and my extracts. We get Mutant Madman and Hammers. I pick 18 points. I play the exact same list: Apocalypse, Wolverine, Psylocke, Colossus. He plays Elsa, Hulk, Encantu, Wong, and Man-Thing. And this was not my best game of strategy-wise. I definitely made some mistakes, went for some things I probably shouldn't have. Psylocke is left at 1 health at the end of turn 1 because Hulk moved up, attacked her, left her at 1 health, threw the train she was standing on at her, which I then braced. At the end of the round, I have to teleport Apocalypse to even get him to the hammer because there's a piece of train in the way. I couldn't set him up so he could just pick up the hammer. And then I move, and I think I make an attack on Hulk. And then pretty much I get 2 hammers, he gets 2 hammers. I get 2 Mutant Madmen, he gets 2 Mutant Madmen. No, he gets 1 Mutant Madman. He fails on the roll to flip one of his. So I go up 4-3. I have priority turn 2, and I use it to run Psylocke as far away from his models as I can. And then he goes with Hulk, and I think he dazes Wolverine and puts some damage on Apocalypse. So I'm like, well, I'll do as much as I can with Apocalypse and see where we go. On to Hulk and see where we go with this. So I do a fair bit of damage. He's at half health after this activation. And I flip both of the points on that side with Apocalypse as well, and I think Colossus, who's alone on the other side right now. I think I end up moving up and making an attack and try to flip but fail because he's got 2 models on it. And we score some points at the end. I don't remember exactly what the score is at this point, but we both have roughly 7-8 points. The next round, I think I have 7. Next round, Apocalypse might have been dazed the round before from someone that wasn't Hulk. And then this round killed by Hulk. No, couldn't. Yeah, he was. But it was after I activated Apocalypse and tried to finish Hulk off and failed. I did like 3 damage. It was so bad. Wasn't even close. So I think Apocalypse dies. Wolverine tries to kill Hulk after that and fails. He hunts down Psylocke with his leader, what's her name, Elsa Bloodstone, and gets her, and she had a hammer, and I score 1 point to his a bunch of points, and it went really bad. And it was Psylocke was dazed after I had only her left, and I chose to pass because I was like, I don't think anyone can get to her and kill her because no one was in range yet, and she just got 1 shot. She only had 1 health, but like I thought he'd play scenario and she'd be okay, and then I could go flip a point, and it didn't work. So I didn't even get to activate her. It was bad. And then the next round, Wolverine immediately dies. Psylocke fails to get Elsa, who's holding 2 hammers. And I, sometime during the turn, choose to pass with... It's just Encanto, someone else, and Colossus left. Someone else on his side. And I'm like, I'll pass. And then Encanto destroys Colossus, and I don't get to activate him. So that's twice this game that a pass has, like, screwed me big time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was real bad because, like, he used the leadership to ignore the damage reduction, and then his dice blew up and just did 6 straight damage to Colossus.
Oh, my goodness.
And then, yeah, it was bad. And I scored no points this round, and he goes, I think he scores 7. He might have scored all 8, and goes up to 22 points. So the game ends 22-8 in his favor. My poor decision making and his exploding dice. Oh, yeah, I remember how Apocalypse dazes. It was an attack from Hulk. He rolled his dice, and I get 1 block, and he gets 6 successes. I'm like, 5 damage is a lot. I'm going to use Immortal Servants to recal this. So I roll. I get 2 successes. I'm like, that feels pretty good. I look over at his dice, and he has so many successes. He has 9, and just 1-shots me. So I recaled into my death. That was the days, and then he KO'd me later, no problem. Yeah, it was a rough one. Les is a great player. You can't really make any mistakes, and then like on top of that, his dice were in a couple key areas. His dice were hot and punished me for even being at the table. I think I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. So you and I have started this off going 0-2. This
Uh-huh.
is not going well for either one of us. And not even that, like, in both of our games, it felt like a really one-sided game
Yeah. Yeah, it
against
sure
us.
did. It
Yeah,
sure did.
yeah, yeah. Well, Brandon, I hope that you're having a better second round than we do. What was your second round like?
I played Brandon. We were in
Okay,
the
you played
battle
other
of
Brandon.
Brandon. We were in the battle of Brandon's superiority. He was playing Black Order. So this was again a situation where I really wanted my secures. He had Infinity Formula, Deadly Meteors, and Intrusions. So like not the worst. Like if he wins and gets Infinity Formula, like I have a really good shot on Infinity Formula. Um, this I won. I picked my secures. He had Alien Ship, Unexpected Guest, and Deadly Legacy. Legacy is one that I have a pretty good game into to get all of the Legacy viruses onto one person. If we get that one, Alien Ship is the worst. Unexpected Guest is the new one that's an F without the center objective. Um, so we got Unexpected Guests, and then on my secures we got Riot Sparks over Extremis. So we're playing 17 no matter what. Honestly, that is the best secure that we could have got on my end. Um, and it's really not close. I had the other ones are Wedding Party and I believe Infinity Formula. But getting a D and being able to just stay away from models is very relevant in this. Um, so we start the game. He is playing. Oh God, okay. Thanos with 2 stones, Mind, and I don't remember the other stone. Power. So Mind and Power. He is pretty much all in with Thanos, just pumping dice on everybody. He played Proxima, Corvus with no stone, so no Reality Stone, and then Nebula. So Thanos is literally just a battery in this game to just pump dice. The first turn I get actually first, so I get 2 of the extracts. I immediately run away. I move the grunts up, pick up an extract, and then I immediately move them back. They get pushed on round 2, and then I double move into the corner. I keep them as far away from the battle as humanly possible because all they can do in this game is just score me a point. Um, their 4 dice attacks are not going to be they're not going to be matter in this game. I do not want to fight him. I want to score and score fast. Um, I also do not want to go steal his um, extracts on his side, which is something I normally would attempt to do in this game. Putting Black Cat or Lizard right in front of Corvus and Proxima, Thanos, and Nebula is just not something that's going to go well. I played at 17. I played Kingpin, Shadowland, Daredevil, Rhino, Bullseye, Black Cat. Pretty standard 17. Um, Bullseye just sits on the home point, tries to stay away from everything that can kill him on accident. The grunts run away. Kingpin moves to the right side. He doesn't take anyone to the right side. So Kingpin gets to just stay on the right side by himself behind a piece of terrain the entire game, which I'm fine with, to be honest. I'm okay with that. I'm going to keep my leadership active the whole game. Shadowland and Rhino were on the left-hand side facing... and Black Cat kind of just hovered in the middle because she got to activate last. I didn't really know. The plan with her was going to be to go to the back point. I did deploy incorrectly. I put her on the right. I put her too far on the right, so I could not double move to his home D. After he moved everybody out, the plan was going to be just take Black Cat to his home D to take all 4 secures, and really force him to separate his team. I just deployed Black Cat in a bad spot, and was unable to do that, unfortunately. But took Shadowland and Rhino to the left-hand side, which were fighting Proxima and Corvus. He kind of put Thanos in the middle to be able to move models with his superpower and move my models off of points. So, and I think he did realize because he had two extracts and he was only really fighting on one secure, which was the left hand side because he didn't leave anyone on the home secure, and I had 2 and 2, so I was gonna outscore him at this point if he couldn't start eliminating models. He was able to start taking out. So round one, he got like 3 attacks off, or like total between the models. He ended up getting Shadowland off the left hand side. Point, Rhino placed, didn't do any damage off his attack, but was able to place on the point. So we end up tying the left hand side, because he got Shadowland off the point. So we end up tying the left hand side, and he scored. I think he had Proxima's home at this point, but I'm okay with Black Cat and Proxima fighting for as long as Proxima's not near Corvus to let them double activate. So the next turn, he starts rotating a little bit because I also started rotating because I don't want to fight him. I'm not going to win a fight with Black Order. The plan is to outscore him every turn until it's over. Really, this game came down to he got a double activate Corvus and Proxima. He did have to make move actions because again, I'm not attacking them, so like he's not gaining extra power. I had Shadowland had moved to the back point. Every activation I had was basically double move away. Starting before the final turn, I had pushed Rhino and moved him to the home D. Like I basically just rotated between those two sides. We ended up getting back in a fight over the right hand D because I was able to sneak back over with Black Cat and just take it, which was kind of a scenario that we fell into at the end of the game. He got into a point where he had to daze Rhino. He had a KO Rhino. He'd already dazed Rhino. He had to do the 6 damage to KO Rhino. Proxima got 1 attack off, dealt like 1 damage. Then Corvus got an attack off, dealt like 2 damage. Then Corvus got another attack, or 1 damage. And then Corvus got another attack. In the last attack, he got really upset because he forgot to play execute. And then I got to promptly remind him after the attack that I didn't block anything anyway. So Rhino had 2 damage. He dealt 4 successes. Rhino does reduce, so he was left on 1 damage. And they don't have Corvus Proxima don't have any like throws or anything like that, so there's nothing doing extra damage in this scenario to get by. I did recal in this game and save somebody that was relevant, and then I got to activate Rhino, but I just got to activate Rhino, double move, and push myself as far away as possible so like Thanos couldn't get to him, and neither could Nebula, because those were the only models he had left to activate. And then I just kind of rotated around. This game finished 16-15 at the end of, I think we played 4 rounds. The end of round 4, it finished 16-15.
You're
And
like photo finishing all of your rounds.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah.
are winning right at the end.
Yeah, at this point, it is just the breaks have to fall one way or another. And it was a scenario where in this one, the dice weren't not hot, but they were like really like spotty. Like I didn't roll hardly any defense, but thankfully he didn't roll like super hot. My whole plan in this matchup was stay away to where he had to make move actions to where he wasn't double attacking my models. Because again, like all the models I had besides Bullseye are very survivable. At some point, Thanos walked down to the home point and killed like Dazed Bullseye. He just stared at him and Bullseye collapsed. I don't know what happened. It wasn't the most relevant thing in the game. It got him points. It got him like he was like always like I think he was 1 point behind me on turn 1 or 2 points, and then he was 1 point because he did get a victory point. He KO'd Bullseye and got a victory point, which put him within 1, or tied it in the last round, but he did not kill Rhino, and Rhino was able to run away. and I was able to score one more point than he was and finished at 16-15.
Wow. What? Yeah. There you go. That's how you win. That's how all Kingpin games seem to go. You have to just hold on long enough against an attrition team, I should say. You have to just hold on long enough to win on by 1 point.
Yeah, the only other thing, like, in Riots helps because it is spread apart and he can't really super. Because, like, you really have to kind of take models out. So, like, if you're playing, like, Attrition into Kingpin and you really try to, like, spread yourself thin, you're just going to lose all the points probably too fast. So, like, you're in a really weird scenario of, like, you kind of have to fight for sides and try to just stay even or within one. Because you're going to be able to take out the models. Like, Lizard's not going to hit back harder than, like, you're going to hit him. Black Cat's just there to stagger people, and that's all she did in this game was just stagger and run around with a point. And that's really because, like, the models I have aren't going to deal a lot of damage. They're not out here to fight. Like, Shadowland Daredevil can, like, worst case scenario, but, like, no, they're not out here trying to fight.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Brandon, for talking about your second round. So you winning means that you are on the last table as determining who will win this event, and Brad and I losing means that the two of us are on the bottom table to determine who will be the person who has no wins this event in round 3. So let's move right along to the round 3 event, which is me versus Brad. Yeah. So going into this game, I'm feeling pretty dejected. I have lost pretty hard my first 2 rounds, and I know from past experience that playing Miles Morales into Apocalypse does not go my way. Brad is too good of a player for me to out-scenario him using Miles, and Apocalypse will just attrition me down and hold me down and pull out the win. And I really don't have a lot of game into that play style. So I think to myself, I need to change things up. I need to play something that can deal with Apocalypse, at least get him off of points, and change the way that this game plays from my normal setup. So I play Amazing Spider-Man's leadership. That is not something I have ever done. I've never played this leadership before. I play. So Brad and I are playing on Spider Infected and Imcron crystals. I pick 19 as the threat value that we play. So my list is Amazing Spider-Man, Rhino, Spider-Woman, oh god, Moon Knight. Who else?
Black Cat.
Black Cat. Yep, that's it. And Brad, what was your roster?
I played Apocalypse, Psylocke, Sinister, Magic, Toad.
So, this game, I begin it playing very differently. Does anything happen in the first round that's relevant? I don't think anything really happens.
I end up with the middle point because I have priority.
Right.
But other than that, I end up with Apocalypse on your Mcron and try to flip it, but I don't remember if I get it or not. I don't
think you do. I think you try and you failed.
I thought I got it, but Amazing hadn't gone yet, and he just stole it back.
Oh yeah, that is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first round ends without a whole lot of action. He scores 5 and I score 4.
Yeah.
Round 2, things start going off. Moon Knight essentially drags Black Cat. That's something that must have happened. Moon Knight got beat up in the first round. I think he took 4 damage.
I did make an attack with Apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah, I think Apocalypse smacked him for 4 damage. But what that meant is he has power, and he uses that power to beat up Magic and push her out of position, and then teleport himself over to the other side of her so that he's not in range for Apocalypse to finish off. And are there any highlights that you want to pull out in the second round?
I think it was both of us moving around a lot, making incidental attacks and trying to flip points. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there wasn't really anything major. I think maybe Apocalypse dazed Amazing Spider-Man before he got to activate this round.
He does. You're correct.
Yeah.
He does do that. Yeah.
And
I
Fred
did a lot of
Fred
damage.
used the leadership in the first 2 rounds to put slow on everyone on Apocalypse's side of the match.
Yeah, and I did some damage to Psylocke, because in this round, don't you run her away? Like, she has the middle point, but you have to run her away.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I did have to run
Yeah.
away and hide. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, but I think that we end up scoring close to the same number again
Yeah.
in this round. And
I think
again,
it was
I'm falling
exactly the
behind.
same. I think it was 5-4 again.
I think you're
So I'm
right.
up by 2.
Yeah. Round 3, things go my way pretty hard. I all webbed up. Is this when I all webbed up, or was
Yeah,
it?
it has
No,
to
I
be.
don't think it has to be. Yeah, I all webbed up, and I get Psylocke, Toad, and Mr. Sinister, which means that every model that Brad has is slow. I then proceed to kill. I put. This is what I did. I put double agent on Psylocke, who's in the back, and activate Spider-Woman first, and I think she just runs around and flips points.
Yeah, I think you flipped
But
3 of them.
yeah, she flips 3 points, and then combat-wise, I'm not really fighting against Apocalypse. I'm just every activation after he activates, I just move him off of his point using the Amazing Spider-Man leadership, which worked great. That leadership is very good for me into Apocalypse. That is what I should have been doing in the past.
Magic
and-
also has been doing what she's great at, because she was like in the middle of nowhere. She attempted to flip both points the previous round, and she does a similar thing this round where like she's not on a point and still gets to try 2 of them and make an attack.
Right.
So
Right.
we go on.
Everything kind of goes the way that it's been going, where the round looks like it's going to end similar to how it has been ending, where he scores 1 point more than me, but he activates Psylocke last,
I have to
and that
activate it.
right, and that unactivates my Spider-Woman, and my Spider-Woman goes and flips as many points as she can, and does she also daze Psylocke?
Yeah, because she only had 2
I think
health left.
Yeah, like I flip a point.
Psylocke
flip a
on
point.
her activation dazed Black Cat and Rhino, but then
That's true.
gets
That's true.
dazed here.
Yeah. I flip a point, move with Spider-Woman, flip a point, daze Psylocke, pick up an objective from Psylocke with Spider-Woman, and end the round way up, like closing the distance. I think, did we tie at this point, or was I ahead?
I think you were ahead.
I think I was ahead by 1 or 2 points. The final round, round 4, occurs. It is playing out close to how it's been going, where we just dance around each other, flip points.
One important thing is Apocalypse switches sides to daze a model and flip a point, which was pretty good considering he was slowed. Oh, he couldn't have dazed a model because he had to double move, but he placed double moved, flipped a point when Fred had 2 models left and I had none, but we'll get to that.
Right. So he has no models left, and I have Black Hat and Rhino. Black Hat, it starts within range 1 of Apocalypse, because Apocalypse just ran right next to her to flip the point. She steals the thing that Apocalypse is holding, then runs away, and I think she flips the point that she's on, and then runs away and flips another point. So that was 2 flips and an extract grab. As it currently stands, when I activate Rhino would Rhinobbery Mr. Sinister, and that would win me the game.
Yeah.
I would win this game.
If Rhino does absolutely nothing, it's I win by 1. But
he would have a full activation and a guaranteed drop.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but if he does nothing, as it stands,
right,
and he's excited to activate his Rhino to win the game, and I play the first one, sacrificing a fully healthy, unflipped Sinister who's holding that point, which Fred
and holding an extract.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He's holding an extract, so Fred places that, and I activate Apocalypse again, who teleports, picks up that extract, flips the point he's on, or at least tries to. I think I failed. And then I teleport, and I already have the point he's sitting on, but he picks up the extract, and we look at the state of the board, and I confirm I have enough points that if the game ends in this state, I win, right? And Fred confirms. I'm like, then I'm going to attack Rhino so that you don't get to activate him. I've got 2 shots to hit him. He's already got 2 damage on him, and I kill him on the first hit.
Yeah.
So for fun, I attacked Amazing Spider-Man and killed him as well.
Yeah. It was like you zap 2 models in Apocalypse. Getting 2 activations in a round is devastating. That card, I was going to win this game, but that card won Brad the game.
It won me the game, and it was risky.
Hands down.
It was risky,
but
it was worth it.
You got it. So I go 0-3 in this tournament. I get shut out,
and I finally win a game.
I do want. Yeah, right. I do want to say that this was by far the best I've ever done against Apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
This is. I need to play Amazing Spider-Man's leadership into Apocalypse. That's what I am learning. That is how to play
it's better.
that game. I think so too. At least in that matchup, I don't think it's a better leadership, but I think it's better.
In that matchup. That's what I meant. Yeah, especially where I can go even heavier into the Mystic. But now we play the 4D chest of, do I stop doing that because it's not quite as good?
Right, like, do you bring
it's still good.
Not...
Anyone who has spider senses, it ignores the spider senses.
If I play the list I played had nobody with spider senses.
Yeah, right. It was still good against Rhino, that I had a bunch of Mystic, and it was still good against Spider-Woman, that I had a bunch of Mystic. And
yes, that is true.
And I didn't have to do Mystic against Moon Knight. So
right.
It was fine. So I may hedge my bets, but we'll see how it shakes out.
Right. Okay, so that is how that game turned out. Hey, Brandon, I should say. How did the final game go? How did the final game of the tournament go?
I played Jeff. He was playing Inhumans. It's who Fred played in round one. We ended up. He won priority. Picked my secures. We had two of the three same. We only had one different one. We got Wedding Party, which again was the only secure I had that I didn't want to see against him. Because having to load up on sides means Black Bolt, if he gets to flip, can just line up his beam and probably just annihilate my entire team. He only played in his list 4 or 5, I think it was 5 Inhuman models, so I kind of had an idea of like what I was going to see from his side. We ended up at 17. He played Black Bolt, Quicksilver, Medusa, and Namor. I played Shang-Chi instead of Rhino, because we were playing Spider Infected and Rhino sitting on a point and Shang-Chi sitting on a point feels like Shang-Chi should survive better. Counting blanks, it's not so much what happened. Shang-Chi ends up getting one shot in this game at some point. So we deploy, we set everything up, and we start going. He does the same thing to me that he does to Fred, which is fine. I just go steal his instead. He takes mine, I take his. Yeah, we ended up tying one of the secures. I won the left secure. We tied up the right secure because I activated improperly. He had Medusa left, and I had 2 models left, and I activated the one that was on the left side and not the right side, so I cannot get Kingpin. He was able to block because of the terrain setup. The right hand side, so Kingpin couldn't get on the point, which was completely my fault. I just didn't think about it, and kind of messed up. But that doesn't cost the game at any point. So we ended up scoring. He got 3, and I scored 4 because I got the secure and 2 of the objectives. This game also stayed pretty close. Again, he like round 2 he one shot Shang-Chi. Takes out Bullseye as well, which not looking too hot. Medusa on the right hand side. He hits the trigger on Medusa every time he makes the attack, which was kind of irritating throughout the game. At a point, I actually even looked it up to make sure that like it was crit wild to get the trigger because I was like, "What is happening?"
What does the trigger do?
It flurries.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a 5 dice range 3 attack, and it has crit, wild flurry, and wild push. He never doesn't get this, like through the entire game. I think he missed the flurry like one time. At one point I looked it up because I was like, "What is happening?" Like, but nothing wrong. He had said at the end of the game, he even mentioned that he had rolled really hot like the entire tournament. Which you need those in tournaments, especially with really good players. Like it sometimes will just come down to dice. So he was able to just keep pushing me off the point. He also got the trigger he got Quicksilver's trigger like 3 or 4 times, which I'll be honest, I don't really know what it does or what it did for him. I just know he was like, oh, dash and oh, velocity, but it was 4 die attack. It wasn't doing like a lot of damage or really any damage. It was able to get him to reposition himself. Sorry, I had a cough. He was able to reposition himself with the dash, which is crit shield, and then velocity's wild hit. So he got the dash a couple times, which again was just kind of like sometimes it breaks that way. Namor ended up being able to kind of focus on. He took 3 of his models at one point to one side. But I really couldn't chase him because I couldn't just let Black Bolt murder something. Um, so I had to kind of keep the two models on the left-hand side, which was mostly Shadowland. It was at one point Shadowland, Shang-Chi, and Black Cat. Shang-Chi, I did actually Black Bolt one round. I got it all according to plan in this game. Um, Black Bolt dazed eventually. So I just had Shang-Chi and Black Cat over there. Shadow ended up chasing Namor to the other side, but at that point it was he was able to kind of get all the pushes and get me off the point, um, which um, worked out. I did have I had an opportunity in the final turn. There is a chance that if I daze Namor, he drops an extract. I get to pick up the extract. Um, and there's a good chance I at least tie up points. Due to barring a couple other things having to go my way. I don't. I deal 6 damage to him on a 5 die, 4 die, 9 die attacks. He just is able to survive it. Um, he rolled pretty well defensively. I know I dealt like 4 on 1. I think on the 9 die attack from Shadowland dealt like 3 damage, but I had like 7 successes or something. Like he blocked like 4 on like 3 dice. So it's just those are some breaks. He played great. Like it was one of those where it was flawless play on his behalf. It's one of those games where, especially against Criminal Syndicate, some of those games are just going to come down to dice. And he just kind of had the right dice at the right time. And then the same time he was able to move Medusa onto a point and then push Kingpin, hit the flurry, and push again. So it was just kind of I needed him to miss a trigger. That would have been if Namor dazes, I get that point, and then if he misses a push trigger, I also get back on the point. And I win that point, and I get 3 points instead. I get 3 additional points, and he loses 3 points, which would have ended the game 17-16 in my favor. However, I did not get those 3 points, so it ended up 19-14 in Jeff's favor. Again, like he played absolutely flawless. I needed some lucky breaks to go my way that didn't if I was going to win that game. And he was just able to peruse through and really take it out with, like I said, good play. He did Terrigenesis. He got 2 points. He got the points off Terrigenesis because Terrigenesis is like one of the only things that hasn't been errated to say non-grunt.
Yeah.
So, which is
Yeah.
awkward because it's
That's
like they have changed that wording on every single thing in the game besides that apparently.
right. Terrigenesis only can happen on Shadowland, Daredevil, and Nick Fury's grunts, right? Like, because you have to be holding a civilian token to trigger it.
On the grunts, yeah, which were
Yeah.
the original grunts, which is when all the wording changed on all that.
Yeah.
That's when the clean sweep, besides Thanos has just changed to non-grunt?
Yeah.
Or did it change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it just now.
So, yeah, so maybe that'll come down the pipeline where that gets changed. It feels like it's something that probably should. Because he
Yeah.
was able to deal the damage, because he needed 2 damage. He was able to push off of Namor. Bender pushed and dealt a damage, and he was able to tear Genesis, targeted, and then he rolled one success, which was able to do the second damage.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty solid turning point. Like that was just everything that I needed to go right in that last turn did not go right. But again, it was Jeff played amazing. Like I said, he played flawlessly. He did not give me any openings to steal points. He did not give me any, advantage to take anything. I had to earn all of it, by playing the game, which is not how my list is designed to do. So I needed any break to happen. Didn't get them. finished second in a tournament I should have never been a part of.
Hey, you got second. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
And Jeff is
that's
great to play against. He's super friendly. Like, he's super awesome. Like, it was all the opponents I had were awesome. So it was really like it was a tournament where there's stress, but like it didn't feel very stressful. Besides for Fred, who went 0-3. I think everyone else was really having a good time. I think Fred changed his roster completely, like 10 minutes into being in the car on the way home.
Yeah. So let me discuss that. That's I'm there. So playing Web Warriors, there are some matchups where I cannot win. Like I have no way of winning, and in order, I was talking to Savage about this, and he gave me some pointers, and we talked about people to add and people to subtract, and I'll go over that later, I think. But go ahead. There's a train going by. I'm gonna have to mute myself.
Okay.
But I do want to congratulate Jeff, for winning. He played great. Everyone had a really good time, it felt like.
He is the first and will be the only BECC Ohio Valley Regional winner champion.
Right. Because it is now the Appalachian Cup.
It has been replaced with the Appalachian Cup, yes.
Didn't get a trophy, though. Unfortunately, the host did not get a trophy for him.
I think that Bryce did enough for all of us already.
No, I gave him a hard time. Because the finals was on a table that I have adamantly hated every time we go up there. And we had played on every other table, so it was the perfect table for us to play on, because it was a table neither of us had played on in the event. But I hate that terrain. I hate it so much. It is all awkward. It's the dinosaur one.
Yeah, you can't stand on anything.
Nothing. Everything is sloped. Nothing fits like normally. Like, there's terrain you can stand like inside of, but you can't really because like you'll fall. Like, you can't place right. I've always despised the terrain, and
wow, it sounds like the terrain mattered, huh?
That mattered mentally. It was a mental block for me. I let the terrain mentally abuse me throughout the game.
Man, imagine that terrain mattering in the game. Wow.
No. I also live in a world though that I very much enjoy MCP terrain. And I like playing on tables that are just MCP terrain. That's just a personal thing, and it came up in the Brew Brawl, when the first Brew Brawl we had, because the top tables were very non-MCP.
This is the one a year ago. The one in
Yeah.
No,
I believe those complaints changed the way they laid them out going forward.
They had a couple tables where they looked really good. They were like custom built tables, but they were hard to play on. That wasn't the terrain's problem. That was the table's problem.
The one that he's specifically referencing is one that's been it has a big overlay that makes the entire thing a subway station, with like raised or sunk subway tracks and raised platforms to stand on and large staircases. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, unmovable staircases.
Unmovable staircases. And it was not made in such a way to be playable with MCP. Like how can you overhang the tracks? Like, can your base overhang?
You were able to overhang the tracks, so you could overhang the tracks, but you couldn't properly because if you fell, you were illegal. So, like, there were lots of flaws in it because they allowed the rules for the table you could overhang, because if you were inside the subway and you got pushed, you just kept going. You would go up and keep going. So you would do your entire push like you were 2D, which made sense for the overhang part, but it was really like awkward because there was a point when I played on that table, like when you got pushed, if he would have pushed me into the wall he could have made another attack, but it kept going, and he was unable to make a second attack. And it was just kind of like there were weird things. The only terrain on the table was size 2 or 1s. There was no movable terrain that was bigger than a size 2 on that table.
Well, but this was a year ago, and this,
my understanding is that they did resolve it after that.
That
is no
never
longer
showed
there.
up before. Since my point is that pieces of terrain that are interactable and throwable that you just happen not to be able to stand on is a big difference than a sculpted mat that makes it hard to play. Like the terrain that you can't stand on is fine. That means it matters where that terrain is a lot. Now you have to be careful not to have it be on top of where secure is or whatever, but it now matters where that terrain is in a different way than other terrain, and both of those things are fine.
Right. I those terrain pieces on that the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull and the Savage Land terrain pieces are interesting, and it's difficult to use them because you can't stand on them. I think that's where Brandon's coming from.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
saying that's fine. There's nothing wrong
I disagree
with that.
100%, and that's 100% disagreeable because every piece of MCP terrain they have ever made you can stand on top of. The game terrain that is designed,
that is not true.
Every piece that is like a size 3 or more, you can stand on top of.
You cannot stand on the waterfalls of the Wakanda.
No, absolutely.
That is not terrain that was designed to be played in the game. That is a
that
is a scene piece. It is a scene piece that is not designed to be on mats.
I'm talking about the waterfalls that are not the grand waterfall thing, but in the size 3 waterfalls. There are these little waterfalls, and there's no way that even a small base model could ever stand on them.
That's correct.
What
like they're kind of.
It's like a piece of wall with a tiny little fountain waterfall.
Yeah.
You cannot stand on that terrain.
You cannot
I've
stand.
never seen this.
They were on one of the tables.
It exists. Yeah. Oh well. All right.
Let's not have been on that table.
Let's just move away. I want to give a good thank you to Bryce for running this event, for taking over leadership of the BECC when he did. I had a huge amount of fun in the BECC as a whole. This was a great series of events, and I'm looking forward to the Appalachian Cup being a focused, like, more regionally specific event series that is kicking off this month. I'm really looking forward to it. So a big thank you to Bryce.
Everything. I just like picking fun at Bryce a lot.
Right. Okay, let's move on. Those were the games that we played recently. Let's talk. We do not have trivia today, so let's do a real quick recalibration matrix on Gambit, because we know that Gambit is getting a rework, and we even know what at least the front of his card looks like.
We got both.
And it is. Oh, we got both.
Yep.
Yeah, we do. We have both. So, we have his entire new card. Let's go over
what
essentially
changed.
what has changed.
Yeah,
let's go over what changed. Brad, do you? I'm trying to look at it and
I've got a pretty
time.
good idea. Okay.
Okay.
So his spender used to have a trigger, a wild trigger, where his wilds counted double. That is just a rule, an innate rule in his card now. Wilds count double when he's attacking, defending, or dodging. Okay. His
incredible buff.
Right.
Just a fantastic buff.
He used to be able to pay to get extra dice on his attacks. He can no longer do that. His like parting blow like ability. He can now go any direction he wants, not just away. And he's always had that. And now his trigger on his spender, his Beam Force spender, is double wild stun.
Which would be by itself 4 hits.
Yeah.
Like if you got a double wild.
Yes. Yeah. And
I think also his kinetic ace changes to being an energy attack. I think that it was a physical attack on his previous card.
Yeah. That's right.
It also loses a dice. It was 3/5 and it comes 3/4.
You're correct. It does.
That's because of the change to the double wilds. It is worth noting this did not change. It was always there, but when during the modified dice step, he can spend 1 to change a hit into a wild.
Yeah.
That's very relevant.
Right. I think that the buff of making just innately wilds count as 2 for him is a tremendous buff. That's huge.
It is.
That is enormous. That means every single time that he rolls a hit, if he has power, that's 2 hits because he's going to just turn it into a wild. Any more wilds, he gets even more hits. If he's playing under Captain America First Avenger, that's another time that he can turn a dice into a wild.
Yeah.
This changes him quite a bit.
If he rolls 1 hit under First Avenger and has 2 power, he gets 4 hits.
Yep. That's a big swing for 2 power. What are your thoughts on this, Brad?
So
I've said mine, I think.
the really, really, really actually big thing, sure, his offensive output's much better. Gambit died extremely easy before, and now on dodging and defenses, those wilds still count as double, which makes him way more survivable than he was before. It's still very dice dependent, but it just gives you that edge to keep him on the table longer, which is great.
It is a tiny nudge of defensive tech, which he used to have none of.
And changes to defensive tech, I think, affect the model more than anything else. So I think that is huge for him.
Yep. Brandon, what are your thoughts here on what they've done to Gambit?
I think he's better. I'm just not sure he's good enough. I understand like the taking a dice away for the double wilds, but I mean, rolling 4 dice on attacks, like he's not gonna do a ton.
I'd
like to play him.
He will pretty much always get the explosive trigger on that. It's really hard for him not to.
I mean, as long as he has power, he's spending his power. So, which I'm curious. I like him. I do want to try him in Mystique. I think he's a lot better under Mystique now, because he gets refunded on extracts, which can get him a little bit more action economy and keep him up with a little something extra. So I do like it. I think he's someone you can explore with now. He's not gonna sway. He's not gonna be the greatest thing you're playing. But he's playable, and Gambit's a very liked character, so you should be able to play him, and you really weren't able to before. So
yeah, he was on the deep backbench on every affiliation that he's a part of, and I think the biggest problem that he faces is that in all of the affiliations he's a part of, he's like the 3rd or 4th 3-threat model that you would grab, and that means that he just never gets to play. Does this change that? I guess that's the question. Like, this is a big buff. This is a buff that makes him better, I think, without question. Did it make him good enough to make him top bench seats? Yes, Brad?
Do you remember what his tactics card does?
Oh, no, I don't. I guess that's the question, isn't it? Brad, do you have his tactics card up? Can
It's
you
called Dark
read it off?
Past, so that you can
Oh
bring it up
crap!
too.
I do remember. I do remember this being
So
very
this
good.
is an unaffiliated reactive card. During the power phase, if your squad is not using Uncanny X-Men affiliation, Gambit may play this card. Allied characters within range 3 of Gambit gain the stealth superpower until end of the round.
Yep, that's pretty fire. That's pretty good.
It costs no power.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. All right.
That's a great tactics card that sometimes people were playing Gambit for the card, and just having a mediocre character. Now he's a much better character with a great tactics card.
All right. So, I guess here's the question I have for Brad. Does he make your roster for Servants of the Apocalypse?
The problem with Gambit in Servants of Apocalypse is that he almost certainly wants to be Death. He's Death or Famine, I think. It's up.
That's correct.
Yeah, Death or Famine. And he's way better with Death with his do card. Way better as Death. I rarely play Death. Death gets played at 19 and 20 points only. And it's almost always just Toad. So that's the problem. It's not him, it's Death. And he may still get in there. Maybe.
Maybe. Let
Maybe
me just
is the
say
answer.
the okay. The affiliations that he is a part of are Brotherhood of Mutants, Servants of the Apocalypse, and Uncanny X-Men. Those are where he is affiliated.
I think he'll be in Brotherhood rosters.
He'll be in Brotherhood rosters? Okay.
I think I'm really excited to play him in X-Force as a splash.
Okay. We need to give him an updated letter grade. I don't remember what I gave him last time, but I think I gave him a C. I think that what I was saying may still be the case. Like, the biggest problem that he has is his competition. I don't think this change is very good, and it helps him. Does that help that it gives him help him to be more of a choice in the affiliations where he works? I guess maybe. It's not a slam dunk. I don't think it's a slam dunk. I think this is an improvement, but it's not like he's now an auto include in everything, which I think is correct. They shouldn't fix models so that they become broken. So what I think I had him at a C. I'm gonna move him up to a C plus. He's better. I don't think he's outstandingly better. Okay. Brad, what are your thoughts on his letter grade?
Okay. So I also don't remember what I gave him, but before the change, like right before the change, I would have given him a C minus. It's pretty bad. This time I'm gonna give him a B minus. I think that he's worth experimenting with. He's got places to be played. I like it.
Okay. All right. Brandon, how about you? What are your thoughts for a letter grade?
I think I'm just at a C, because I do think you're definitely not playing him ever in Uncanny. Brotherhood, he's the fourth best 3.
I wouldn't say never in Uncanny, but not in Storm.
You're not playing him under you're not playing him under. No one's playing Cyclops, and you're not playing him under Professor X.
I think you can play him under Professor X.
I think
He
you
does
can.
use
He's like
the
your
superpower all
7th
the
best
time.
offense.
Every turn he'd be using that. Every time he activates, he's using that. If he rolls a hit, he turns it into a wild.
Yeah.
That'll be good for Xavier.
It'd be real good
Yeah.
for Xavier.
I still don't think it's something you're going to be considering. I don't think he's good enough elsewhere. Um, I do like him as Death in Apocalypse. I think
Because
that's
he dies. He does make a good death.
He
I
will
think
kill
that's the
people.
giving him extra dice on attacks,
Yep.
real good. Like I think that's his best place of the affiliations he's in. But kind of as Brad said, Death is your last, usually the one you play last. There may be a world where you play Gambit to play Death a little bit more often in certain matchups, especially if you're going against a team that can out attrition you. Um, it might be worth considering him because if they leave him on one or two, he'll have the power to Death. He'll have the power to do his superpower as well, um, which is a good place for him to be. And then he can add he can add 3 dice, and if you can add 3 dice to your 52 card pickup, if you flip, now you've got an 8 dice beam. So I think there's some decent plays for him there, and then he's probably going to daze someone, which is going to get you all the tokens back. So I think it's a good spot. I think that's his best spot in affiliation. I'm going to try him in Mystique Brotherhood, going really wide. The problem is he's like taking the spot of like a Black Cat, which feels really wrong. But I think I think I'm just at a solid C. I'm not sure he's gonna move the tick, but I do think if you want to play Gambit as a character, you can play him in all of these affiliations. If you're he's just gonna be that 9th or 10th man in most rosters if he's a part of them.
Right. Okay. All right. So that is our recalibration matrix on Gambit. It helped him. It didn't help him a ton, but it helped him. All right. Let's. I guess the next thing that's up is for us to talk about the person that we are here to talk about today. That person being Ghost Spider, otherwise known as Gwen Stacy. She is. These older cards always mess me up. Her defenses are 3, 3, and 3. She has 5 stamina on both sides of her card. She is a long mover on a small base. She is a size 2, and she is a threat value of 3. Hey, Brad, why don't you do the first 2 attacks?
Her first attack is Physical Spider Technique. Range 2, 4 dice, cost 0. Gain power for the damage dealt. If he's already attacked during her activation, add 3 dice to this attack roll. And if she's already advanced or been placed during this activation this turn, after it's resolved, she can advance long. Her second attack is Impact Weapon. It is also physical, range 4, 4 dice, cost 0. After this attack is resolved, this character gains 1 power and Wild Push after the attack is resolved, size 2, away. Oh, before damage. Before damage. I can't read.
Right. Before damage is dealt. Brandon, why don't you do that last attack and the first superpower? Is Brandon there?
Yeah, sorry, my dog started barking.
Oh, okay.
The last attack, where her card went away, and now I cannot find it.
Do you want me to do it? Her last attack is called Freestyle Beatdown. It is a range 2, 6 dice attack that costs 3, and if the attack deals damage and the target character is size 3 or less, after the attack is resolved, the target may be thrown away short. That's awkwardly written. That's like not how they normally say that particular thing. And then the first superpower that she has is called Webline. It is a cost 2 active superpower. Push an enemy character within range 4 and in line of sight towards this character short. A character can be pushed by this superpower only once per turn. All right, Brandon, why don't you finish off the card?
Yeah, so we have the first superpower is. You didn't read the superpower, did you?
I read Webline.
Okay.
Why don't you do Lifesaver?
Yeah, the reactive superpower Lifesaver. Okay. I don't know. I zoned out there. That's my bad. The second superpower on Ghost Spider is Lifesaver. It's a reactive superpower that costs 2 power. When an enemy character targets another allied character with an attack within this character's line of sight and range 4, you may use the superpower. Push the targeted allied character towards this character's short. If at the end of the push, the targeted character is outside of the attack's range or the attacker's line of sight, the attack ends. If it is the attacker's activation and the attack did not target multiple characters, they may make another action. The superpower can only be used once per turn, and she has Wall Crawler.
Okay, so that is Ghost Spider. All right, I will start off here. I have been playing Ghost Spider quite a bit recently. She is a web warrior, and she has been one of the famous web warriors for a very long time. She is like one of the original core web warriors. And here's another piece of information. She's a chronic underperformer on the battlefield. She hits like a feather pillow. She never is in the right place to do what you want her to do. Every once in a while, she'll do a lifesaver that's absolutely clutch and justify her existence. But most of the time, she's sitting on a back point doing nothing. I'll be honest. In the games that I've played, I have, especially since this most recent tournament, she has been cut from my roster. She is no longer in my Web Warriors roster because I've been just frustrated with how little she ends up accomplishing on the battlefield. She has impact webbing, which is good, and it when it triggers, it's clutch, but it's a wild trigger on 4 dice, which is not frequent, and you can't count on it. I used to have such high feelings towards her as being quality, and recently I've really been thinking that she is not worth the trouble. That's okay, so that's my take on her right now. Brad, what are your thoughts here on Ghost Spider?
It seems like she never has enough power to do what she wants to do.
Right.
And then someone finally attacks her and kills her.
Yeah, that's like if someone looks at her the wrong way, she just dies. Even with Miles's reroll, she has no spider senses. She has no spider defenses other than Miles's reroll.
And that's the problem with her. Like all web warriors are starved for power. That's fine, but other ones can survive a couple hits where she just cannot. And like her kit is good, she just does not get to use it. She just doesn't get to use it. I would love to see her gain spider senses.
But I think that if they gave her spider senses, it would not break the card at all.
No.
That would just make her more playable.
Yeah. As she is now, she's in a rough spot, and it feels so weird to say that because like for such a long time she was an annoying piece to play against, and some people would splash her just for lifesaver, and it was really annoying. And it's just it feels like the game has really left her behind. Like
I used to splash her in Midnight Suns. I think she's a better Midnight Sun than she is a Web Warrior because at least you can place her, and that will make her spider technique attack, the extra long move you get, actually happen. As it is right now in Web Warriors, the spider technique reads gain power equal to the damage dealt, and that is it. I don't think either one of those other effects ever happen. I don't think they've...
A good thing you can do with her, like if she's like on a D, is on the back D, protecting it. That's usually where she ends up. She can move long, attack a side D if the models are close enough, and then move back onto that point.
That's true. Like she can yo-yo.
Yeah, stuff like that's good. But like, how much is a 4-die attack going to do if it's not rolled by Jared King?
Yeah, right.
Jared's gonna do
It's a 4
8,
die
but
attack.
The rest
Right.
of us do 1 or 2 at most.
If
if
that,
if any, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Brandon, what are your thoughts here on Ghost Spider?
I would like to counter what you said. You do not play her in Midnight Suns anymore.
No, you don't. But
Oh yeah, no.
I
This
wasn't gonna
was
say anything. I was gonna let him have that one.
Yeah. No,
I
she
wouldn't
does fit.
now
She
either.
does fit better there, but within Kantu and Man Thing, like there is no room in that
No,
roster for her.
there's
as
a
a
better character named Gwen Stacy to play in Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
That is true.
4's a little tougher, so if you did want to stay in 3, but like there's no world you're looking at Man Thing and then Kantu and being and like Iron Fist and Black Cat and being like, you know what, Ghost Spider.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
play
take
Ghost
this
Spider.
one. We'll play Ghost Spider. Like it's just not like you're not because she does. She just the 5 health on both sides and the 3 defense is just it just doesn't get there. It was a big problem with Gambit, who we talked about earlier. Like he's 5'5", 333. Like you just don't survive when you don't have any kind of defensive tech. And she has better defensive tech than he did. But I mean, like if you like her, you can play her, but like you just have to know she's not doing anything offensively. You may get lucky and get her defensive trigger, but as soon as someone wants to come fight on a point, like she's gonna lose. She's not gonna survive it. She's gonna end up losing. She doesn't have any tactics cards that really help her, like that are specific to her. Her spender again is not like the greatest. Like getting a throw on it, it's pretty good. Like it's not bad.
You never do it. Like that's
Yeah.
the problem is that you never do it.
You have
She
to
never has
activate her after she dazes, and like there's usually better options. So like you're
Right.
choosing to activate her over like Miles or someone like she's probably not dazing someone. So now you're just gonna get countered again, which is even more awkward. So yeah, she just doesn't do a ton. I've been telling Fred for a while to take her out of the roster. But I did tell him to play Moon Knight more, and apparently Moon Knight did literally nothing in this event, so maybe I shouldn't be trusted in this scenario.
Moon Knight is better than her. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
Moon Knight does more.
in your first round, you not activating him with all the power to do his spinner multiple times is a you thing, not a Moon Knight thing.
Well, yeah, that was my mistake. That was definitely my mistake.
No, but yeah, it's just she's got a lot on her card as a 3 threat. Like she has a lot of stuff. Just none of it's great. And
she just can't
Like,
do it because she doesn't
Lifesaver-
have power.
Yeah. Lifesaver can save a dude's life, no question. The Lifesaver's great, but it happens more often than not that she has only 1 power on her when you want a Lifesaver, and you can't. And it's so
web
frustrating.
lining, and you want to. I feel like you want to web line a lot with her, and then you pull someone near, and then they just kill her.
Right. That's
Like perfect scenario is she's sitting on a point, and there's someone on a point within range 4 that is just that you can pull enough off of the point, but not to get within range 2 of her. Like you're pushing him like off the point, but into a piece of terrain to where like you're just off of the point. Like it's just that's like best case scenario, and it just feels like she's gonna underachieve. But like if you read this card, you feel like she's gonna do a lot, but like she's been out for a really long time. We have all played against her. All of us, being Fred, have at least played her, like probably a decent amount. I played her a ton in Midnight Suns when they first came out, and you know she just ended up getting cut there too because it's just like when you start playing her, she's just not doing anything.
Yeah.
And
her job it could be done by Bullseye, and Bullseye would be better at it.
more effectively. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, all she's doing is sitting on a back point, and like, why are you spending 3 for a back point sitter who doesn't even? Someone looks at her the wrong way. All right. Well, so we've been talking down on Gwen Stacy. She's got some good stuff, but ultimately, I don't think that she works anymore. I think the game has changed also, and that what she does
is less and less valuable.
There
And
are
to
also
the
a
point,
ton of web warriors now,
yeah,
and
right.
like she doesn't fit as much in as she used to. Like if she was affiliated in like A Force, that would be a better home for her, because they can help get her power to keep her web line and um, lifesaver
Lifesaver.
online.
I thought she
So
was
like
A Force.
she's not. She's
This
just
is
web
this
warrior.
is
Yeah.
news
Just
to
Web
me.
Warrior.
She is. That's been the biggest mistake like of this game is that she's not A Force because that makes literally no sense that she's not A Force. Um, so she does have that going for like if she was A Force, she would see play in A Force. But like again, you're choosing to splash her, and then when you're choosing to splash her, you're choosing her over the Shadow Cats and the Black Cats and these other 3-point models that just do way more than she's going to end up doing on the table.
That are just so much better. So much better.
Yeah. But to be fair, if A Force got a new leadership and she became A Force, she would probably see a decent amount of play there, because she does work really well with She-Hulk, giving her that second power return, being able to pull models off, keeping Webline up, keeping Lifesaver up, and helping. That would help the survivability of a She-Hulk. I think she would work really. She would help them out a lot. It's just there are a lot of really good splashes, so and not being affiliated really hurts that choice there.
Yep. Yep. All right. We need to give a letter grade to Ghost Spider. So, Ghost Spider, has been steadily declining in my estimation as I've played her, in my Web Warriors career, uh, to the point now where I don't even have her in my roster. She just doesn't make the cut. She has been cut. I've cut out the fat. Uh, I'm gonna give her a. This feels bad. I'm gonna give her a D plus. I'm gonna give her a D plus. That feels rough, but I really think that the game does not have a place for her right as it currently stands right now. Uh, Brandon, what are you gonna give her letter grade wise?
She's not that bad. I'm gonna stick with a C. Like she has
Okay.
places she can at least see play. Her biggest flaw, honestly, at this point is that she has one affiliation, and that affiliation is Web Warriors, who have a lot of really good threes
Yeah. Uh,
and fours.
it may just be my recent sting of how little she does, but yeah, I'm sticking with my letter. Brad, what are your thoughts here on Ghost Spider? What's
Well,
your letter grade?
she's better than old Gambit, who I said was a C minus. So I'm gonna go with a C. And you really should not fat shame women.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. For those of you listening, the art, I don't think that she has a not an ounce of fat on her body.
You said you were cutting the fat, Fred. That's very rude.
Well, I was using that as an idiom. I was speaking idiomatically. All right. Well, that is our take on Ghost Spider. Uh, yeah. She needs. Do you guys think that there's a possibility that she gets addressed? I don't think there is. I don't think she gets touched in
I
uh anytime soon, at least.
uh, she's not getting a repackage, so they would have to go out of their way to do
Is she
something
not
about
in the
her.
Hold on, is she not in the Web Warriors starter box that's coming out?
Is there a starter box coming out?
I thought there
Not
was a Web
just
Warriors
the
starter box.
No,
affiliation box.
I don't think there's a starter box for Web Warriors.
I don't think
I
there
think
I
there's
is
thought
one for
either.
Spider Foes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's a
thought
Spider
there.
Foes one.
Maybe I just made it up in my head. Maybe I just assumed there was going to be one.
They probably will have one eventually. I don't think it's currently on the schedule for them to do. So,
Yeah, okay. I probably made it up in my head.
yeah. So,
That's a me problem.
and they're probably only going to look at models that are getting repackaged, probably. So I think it's unlikely. I think she does need it though.
I think
I'm
so
not
too.
really sure what you really do.
Give her
Like,
spider
You
senses.
give her spider
it.
senses. That would help her enormously.
yeah, give
She,
her one reroll spider senses and make her A Force.
Oh yeah, definitely make her A-Force. That's something they could do anyway. Um,
Yeah, her not being A Force, but Gwenum's also only Web Warriors,
I
for
think
the record.
uh, I think she could have a 2-die spider senses. I think it'd be fine.
I think so too. I
I think
think it'd be
that'd be
fine.
fine.
I don't know. Because then that means she gets 3 rerolls, and Miles that means she's just as tanky as Miles. Miles is already a problem.
Yeah, Miles' problem I don't think is his tankiness. I think it's the
He does so
the
much more
extract
than she does
steal
anyway.
after he survives the attacks, and she doesn't do as much after she survives.
Right.
Keeps Miles alive.
Once.
Not if she can get all those rerolls.
All right.
She still doesn't have power,
let's get away from
Brandon.
the speculation. We're just
That's
speculating now.
fair.
This is all right. So that is our take on Ghost Spider. Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Gwen Stacy?
I don't. She died before she became a superhero.
Okay, by Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
Is that
very
by the
good,
Green
Fred?
Goblin?
You remembered.
Yeah.
Okay, so
remember.
I do have some comics. The first one is the Spider-Verse crossover, written by Dan Slott. There's a bunch of artists. This is an epic crossover where Peter Parker meets the different versions of Spider-Man from throughout the multiverse, and he tries to stop a family of totem-eating vampire people who are killing all the spider totems. I've talked about this crossover before. In the lead up to the event, Marvel published a mini-series called Edge of Spider-Verse, where we are introduced to some of the major characters that are going to help our Spider-Man in his quest. Issue 2 features the only Gwen Stacy to survive in all of the multiverse. So, in this universe, she gets bitten by a radioactive spider that gives her spider powers. And Peter Parker ends up taking the lizard formula. And in a fight between them, he dies by accident. And so it's kind of a flip of what happened in every other universe, where he dies from her heroics instead. And then she plays a big role in this crossover throughout. But that is her premiere in that one issue. Do you have any questions or anything about that, Fred?
No, I think that I knew all of that. I think
that's
that was
crazy.
in Across the Spider-Verse. I think.
This crossover is the influence of that movie.
Okay.
Of those movies.
That movie absolutely rules. By the way. All right.
Didn't he
Keep
miss
going.
a trivia? Did he miss a trivia question last week that was literally in the same movie?
Maybe.
Probably.
Sorry. The next series.
The answer is no. I aced trivia last week, bud.
Oh,
I
that's
aced it.
right.
I
He
did
did.
real well.
Except you couldn't figure out that they had tails. Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Next series.
That wasn't his fault.
Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. This is a series that came out in 2018, and it's by Shannon McGuire and Rosie Kempa, or Kemp. I don't know if you pronounced it at the end. And Gwen gets a series focused on her and her world. So instead of her running around with Peter in the Spider-Verse, the series focuses on just Gwen and what's going on in her home universe. So we get to see her version of Goblin and some other villains. And we get to see her friendships and relationships with some of the other Spider-Man cast that everyone knows, like Mary Jane and Harry Osborn. One interesting thing about Gwen is she is in a band. The band is called the Mary Janes, and Mary Jane is the like front person in the band, and Gwen is the drummer.
That's very cool.
Yep. So there we go.
All right. Thank you, Brad, for the comic book recommendations. So I guess the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. This one's easy. Go see Sinners. Whatever you're doing right now, drop it and go watch the movie Sinners. The new movie by Ryan Coogler that's starring Michael B. Jordan. This movie is outstanding. It is excellent. Michael B. Jordan is maybe one of the most charismatic actors currently working right now. Whenever he's on screen, he's stealing the scene at every moment. There is also I'm gonna go spoiler light here. There's no spoilers, but there is a musical scene that occurs about halfway through that is transcendently good. I was talking about this movie with She Who Tolerates Living with Me on the way back, and this is a horror movie. There is a world where this could be classified as a musical because there are several musical scenes. It is not a musical, but the music in it is so central to the plot and so good. I love this movie. And I think that Ryan Coogler is quickly going down as one of the best currently working directors in the business. I love it. Go see Sinners. That is all. And thank you all for joining us today and listening to us talk about Ghost Spider. Thanks, Brad and Brandon, for talking to me about the tournaments that we covered. And thank you, Bryce, for running everything for the BECC and coming up on the Appalachian Cup. I guess that's all. That's it for us this week. Have a nice day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thunderbolts was also good.